Thrive Church, we are so honored as a church family to hear an incredible story today. One of our very own Thrivers, Kathy Gappinger, is here. And she has a story to share. And here we are in this series called Resilient. And what an amazing series this has been. But, it's moments like this right here where you get to hear someone's journey and story of resilience that takes scripture and it takes what we've been learning as a church and even brings it more to life and can make it more personal and real for all of us. And so that's what today is. And Kathy, on behalf of your entire Thrive Church family, we want to say thank you for taking these brief moments to share part of your story. I know we don't have enough time to do it all, but I think you're going to share enough of it here today where your church family is going to hear really this banner of resilience. And because that is your journey and your story. And so let's start with this. I know so many are wondering right now, what is this story? What is this journey? Well, let's start with this. Can you tell us what happened 3 years ago to this date of this recording? And we are recording this on Sunday, September 18th. What happened 3 years ago to this date?
3 years ago, September 18th, I received the phone call diagnosing me with cancer. I'm a high school teacher, and it was homecoming week, which homecoming this week again.
It is. Here it is.
And I'm also the teacher that oversees all the things. And so we had our assembly. And so I knew that call was coming. I had felt a lump. I had done the biopsy, the scans, the tests, all the things. And I knew that was happening. And so we had just introduced royalty. Our unified SSN kiddos are doing a dance in the middle of the gym. My phone rings. I look down, and I knew this was it. And so the plus side are the halls are empty. This is the only time because everybody's in the gym. And I tell them to hang on. And I go up, and the way our school is, there's the big cafeteria and this big, huge staircase.
Now, you're at Chaparral High, right?
Yes,
okay, we got a little Chaparral shout out there.
Go over, yes.
Okay, there you go.
And as I went up, every single step in my head and probably out loud, I said, I am strong. I am strong. I am strong. I questioned it. Of course, I questioned it. I am strong. And I haven't counted how many steps there are, but it felt like 100.
Because you knew what was waiting on that phone call.
I did.
Okay.
I knew. I was leading up to that. I was very calm. People would even ask, like, why are you so calm? And I just, and
you
I
knew.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So you're walking up those stairs. You're saying, I am strong.
Yeah.
You take the phone call. How do you feel? What do you think?
Again, I still felt really calm. Kind of like it just, I knew that was coming, and of course I had lots of questions, and I wrote things down, and then I call my husband, and he leaves work, and we go home, and then things became a lot more difficult when we needed to share that with our kids and everything.
So that was September 18th.
Yeah.
And chemo started when?
So September 18th, my surgery was November 9th.
Okay, so September 18th diagnosis, November surgery.
And I had, at first they said, okay, we'll just do a lumpectomy. This is really easy. And there was something in my heart that said, I want both. Do double mastectomy. Let's get this. And then as my incredible surgeons, I had such incredible trust in my surgeon team. There was cancer on both sides. So 2 types of breast cancer on the right side, cancer also on the left, and then it had spread to the lymph nodes on the right side. And so once it's spread to the lymph nodes, then now, you're getting the second scariest C word, and that's chemo.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so I started chemo December 12th.
Okay. Wow.
I used to have long blonde hair, and I chopped it off and dyed it hot magenta pink for about like a week or 2. Had hot pink hair for Christmas.
Wow.
I started to lose my hair about the second treatment just after Christmas.
So September 2019 diagnosis, November surgery, December chemo. You are still teaching? You're still working at the school at this time?
I was teaching all the way up until the surgery in November. Yeah.
Okay. And now chemo's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then we enter 2020.
Yeah.
That was such a great year.
Started out.
We entered 2020. And March 19th, am I getting that date correct?
Yeah.
You say March 19th, 2020 was your last day of chemo.
Yeah.
So March 19th, 2020 is your last day of chemo. Will you tell us about your last day of chemo and how that was very unique for you compared to others' last day prior to March 19th, 2020? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. You know, when you get that second chemo card, you know, you see it in the movies and everything. It's like, oh, I'm going to have my family, my husband, my kids, my mom, my best friends. Like everybody's going to be there for that last, because what do? After you finish that treatment is you ring the bell. And March 19th, world shut down. You know, everybody is home, and it was me, one nurse, which normally in the infusion room, I think there's like 45 chairs. So it's very busy.
Wow.
It was just me, one nurse, and one doctor who I never even saw. They're just there. And that was it. And I remember it snowed that day, and my husband dropped me off. The kids are in the car, and I had to carry up ice coolers because for this chemo, we put ice packs on my hands and feet so my fingernails don't fall off and I don't lose feeling in my hands and feet.
Wow.
And I put those on for 5 hours, these ice packs. And so I had to, I'm at the weakest. This is, they break down the body, the good cells, the bad cells, everything. And so I'm at that, and I remember just like walking in with my armor. It felt like I was finishing like that last day of work. And you envision just this big celebration, and it wasn't. It was, when I sat there, it wasn't. It was cold, it was snowing, and nobody else in there. The nurse couldn't even come near me. She obviously got everything hooked up, but normally the nurses, they're chatting, you have this whole community aspect, and it was just me. And in looking back at that, it's like almost poetic of like, okay, because I was fortunate enough through this whole journey to have a big community lift me up. But it was that day to find that inner strength of like, okay, I can do this on that last day. Which takes me back to you talking about walking those stairs in Chaparral High School. I am strong. Yeah.
I am strong.
Got tattoo.
You do.
I love
bracelet.
I
love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing those things that can come out of us in times of pressure and trial, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you think it's one thing, but how those things, that statement, whatever that thing is, how it can then play out later in a journey. It's like, wow, I never knew that would be here, or I'd be feeling this or facing this. So you are, to me, and I think I could say to the Thrive Church family, by nature, a resilient person. I mean, I hear that just by you telling me the day you receive this phone call, you just start saying over yourself, I am strong, I'm strong. There's a fighter in you. Yeah. You're a warrior.
Yeah.
It's in you. So, and what's interesting is at the start of this journey, you did not have, you said, a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. So it's like you were mustering up what Kathy had on her own. Yeah. So here you are, this resilient person. You have this natural nature to be a warrior, to be a fighter, to move on. Now, tell us about when faith entered this journey. And this is a broad question, I know, because, man, God was setting up some things. Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I think right when you say, when did faith enter this journey? And what's crazy for me to think about is, as a teacher, I mean, I love my job. I love my students. And I tell them that I believe my journey had a purpose. And a lot of it is those 3 words, I am strong. Because if I can have my students, my family, my friends, anybody think those 3 words about themselves in the mirror, I am strong because life is hard. Then this is worth it.
Wow.
And so I know that it's been worth it. And it's been those students through this journey that would give little cards. I received so much love, but so many of the cards had scripture right on it.
Which, let's just pause there. Like, you are a loved teacher.
Yeah, thank you.
Like I got the impression like kids wanted you to know. Students at Chaparral were showering you. You are a loved teacher. So you are getting these mass amount of cards. You're getting loved on, and continue, like you're seeing these scriptures.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the government teacher in me was like, oh my gosh, separate of a church and state. Like, is this okay? But of course. And so it was so powerful was they're saying love. They're saying, Gap, we love you.
Wow.
And then they're writing these powerful messages that at first I'm like, oh, wow, ooh, okay, all right. And I didn't quite know how to kind of take that. And then, people I graduated from high school with are sending me different books and everything. And it was just kind of all these things pouring in. Actually, here's one that was a gift from a substitute teacher, Be Strong and Courageous.
Deuteronomy chapter 31. Did you say a student gave you a Bible? Even?
Yes.
I mean.
So now this is the Bible I read every day. And Alex, she gave me this Bible. It's a beautiful Bible. And that feels very vulnerable. Here's someone who was sitting in my class now giving me this beautiful gift. And it was that. And then it was actually the day of my surgery. Another alumni had sent me a message, and he said that him and his girlfriend at the time, they were just looking at all of these comments on social media, and they were saying that it was bringing prayer back. Like, here's students just posting all of these scriptures and posting these verses, and it, again, at the time, I was like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. That's a lot. I'm going to go fight cancer. Hang on.
Wow. Wow.
And so I just kind of, obviously let these things kind of come in, and I didn't know what to do on that. And then just as more and more came, and then I had this dream that then came into this vision, and then it kind of came something I just started to look for was of just various people in my life. Just holding the light. And it was, in the street, like little lanterns, like almost like tangled, like all these beautiful lanterns and
that have light.
Yeah.
This is a dream you have.
Yeah. And it was that student Alex was, like that first one. And then it's, I'm thinking of from high school, Nadia, this other student, she's my age.
Yeah.
But from high school. And it's just all of these people that were bold enough.
Wow.
Not knowing where I was in my faith, but to just put it out there. And it was just them holding the light for me.
So you get diagnosed with cancer in September, surgery in November, chemo starts December. You finish March 19th. COVID's here. You're alone. You're isolated. But you don't have a personal relationship with Jesus, but you have resilience on your own. Like you're born that. And then these believers in your life, from students to alumni to friends, start just bringing the light of God's word to you. You have a dream. Of these people carrying like lanterns. Like, I mean, this is unbelievable. And COVID is still happening. The world is still shut down. And a Thriver friend, the amazing Nicole Jennings, is also one of these people who's carrying this lantern. Like, and what happens with her?
So Nicole, I don't know how many times you invited me, but I think before
cancer and COVID.
Everything. Oh, come by. And then I remember she brought us tacos after surgery one night. But she kept inviting, and it was the donut drive-through. So
COVID donut drive-through. Thrive did that. Yes.
And so at that point, I was going through radiation now. So I did 7 weeks radiation. And I came through, and it was right before I had a total of 5 surgeries. So right before my hysterectomy.
I remember.
And I didn't really know like what we were doing, and came through. And I remember just seeing all of the faces that now we see every Sunday there introducing themselves, and you all praying for me, because it was the next day I went into another surgery. And that was like light was beaming that day, right? And I was nervous because I didn't grow up going to church or anything. And so for me, the world shutting down was almost a good thing, because I could just kind of watch a little bit, and I could watch a service.
Church. Yes. Okay. So you do the donut drive-through which was like this great first step around Christians in a church.
Yeah.
And now you're learning to church online.
Yeah.
The world was shut down, so you got to do that drive-through experience, people praying for you. I remember that day.
Yeah.
I remember that day vividly. I think I could even be so bold to say is like every staffer remembers that day. And we had so many cars come through, and we remember that day. And like you were strong to get in your car and drive through that day. And I even think about the power of invitation. Like we talk about invite every single Sunday, right? But like Nicole Jennings, and she's a part of this church, like she didn't give up.
No.
And then you finally came to a point where you were ready to get in your car. You drive through for whatever, a donut.
Yeah.
Which they are amazing.
They are.
Right? They're amazing. And then you start watching church online.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. And that was like this great baby. And why speak to that? So like you're now like your heart's opening. You're watching church from your home. Like what did that do for you? What did that mean for you?
I mean, I could take notes, and I could, you know, I remember we went to South Dakota to a family house that we have up there. And so we'd watch up there and sit outside the trees and everything and watch there. And my husband listened to Courageous when Mark Schlereth was the guest that time. And, you know, it was a way for us to, I think at my own pace, kind of get involved. Because I'm normally a 0 to 60 all in kind of person. Yeah. But this is what I needed. I needed to have it be slower. I needed it to be smaller steps.
Beautiful.
It just felt right.
Like, I know this isn't like this perfectly scripted interview here. We're just having a conversation. This is your story. Yeah. This is your life. What was one of the first things you noticed that was different for you when faith started entering this I Am Strong journey? Because you have I Am Strong and now faith. Like you're watching church online, you're taking notes, you're going to Courageous through online. Like what started to be different?
A couple of things. I think even going back to, you know, we had even shirts at school, I Am Strong. And so then kids would point out, here's where in the Bible it says strong.
Wow.
You know, so like kind of, you know, so that was like, it was just more armor, just
fuel.
Like, thank you.
Fuel,
like, like more in my toolbox, whatever I would think of it. And then there was one, actually I remember it was after the online Easter service.
Yes.
And watched like the movie part of it. And I don't know if it was for that I could, you know, you see Jesus in the movie or whatever, but I was at a radiation treatment, and you know, you go, it's not painful or anything, but it's a lot. And it's almost like I just felt so calm. And it was the presence
of God.
It was. And I went home and I cried and I told Ryan and what, you know, and I knew that. And so then even coming to January Flourish, I think it was. You had talked about finding the word, and I was like, do I go with strength? Do I go with strong? Like I've been there, done that. I've been saying I am strong. I am strong. It's like, but now I want to focus on that with my stronger faith now. And it's been
with the strength of God.
Yeah.
Just like 2 more questions for you. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I think I can speak on behalf of the whole Thrive Church family. We are honored to hear this story. And I know there's so much in between the story we're not hearing. But your heart is coming through so beautifully. One of the many things that I am so impressed by is you say, I never questioned why me with cancer. It was never like, why me? Why me world? Why me God? Like, why me? I think that's pretty amazing. And you even say, now looking back, hindsight, even though there's still a journey you're in, you see purpose for the cancer. Would you be willing to share that with us?
The why, you know, of course, you're like, is it genetic? But that's more just protective for my kids. Yeah. You know, and then it wasn't genetic. I was like, okay. And I did a very good job of not the why. How did I get it? Why? When was it? All that. And I think because, you know, you choose faith over fear.
Mm.
You know, I have a mug that says that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I turn to. So, you know, my faith and my relationship with Jesus is new, but just the faith has I mean, I have faith in humanity and connections with people. And it was, you know, as soon as, you know, you get that diagnosis, it's like, okay, here's my team. I got these doctors. I have faith in them. I'm going to attach to that. I'm not going to question, are they doing the right thing? No, they're going to, like, I have faith in that. And I think that piece kind of moving me through this is what, and now I kind of lose my train of thought there.
Okay.
I'm back with your question.
No, like, so one thing you said to me when I was listening to your story is, I look back on this journey, even though you're still in a journey. You have to take a form of treatment. Is it daily?
Daily.
You've got bone pain from the, like, it's not like it's done and gone. You still have to fight. You still have to be resilient every day. But when you look back at the bulk of this journey, you talk about purpose. And you say how, if I had to walk through this for faith to come to my family.
Absolutely. I do it all again.
You do it all again. For faith to come into my family. Go ahead.
It's powerful. Have my son sitting next to us today in church, and Casey down in Kids Thrive. And I mean, our son went to a camp this summer. You know, it's for all of that to reignite the faith in my husband's life.
It's amazing.
It is. I would do it all again. You know, when you talk about the generations, you know, and all of that, it's like, yes, this is
for your family. You know, I want to end with you. You talk about your story, and at the very end, when you were talking to me about for the first time as I watched it, you said, so much of my resilience, as I look back, especially in the start of 2020, came through community, which I think is crazy because the start of 2020 tried to steal community. But like, you got it through, you know, the church online and connecting with those in your life who were believers and faith, and keeping that resilience through community. And I just think that's a beautiful, powerful thing to walk out with, but to know, like, don't we all need that in our life?
And I think I was open. I was very open with my story. I think you have to be if you're a teacher. You got to kind of explain what's going on. But, you know, I think back to, it was May 29th was my last radiation treatment. And, you know, things were still kind of, when I started radiation, you know, definite shutdown still. But I challenged the community of my friends and put it online of, I wanted to run a 10K.
Wow.
And so I did a 10K that morning, and I challenged everyone to just push yourself, just to do something more than you normally would.
Wow.
And I was looking at some of those this morning, actually, as I was reflecting how today is so special. And I think it was over 200 posts of people that, you know, somebody went for, you know, a really long hike. Some people ran, you know, 10 miles, 15 miles.
Wow.
My mom was on a walker with oxygen, and she walked just, you know, maybe 4 houses the length and back versus just a couple at the time. And I think looking back was, I had the strength to ask that, you know, to say, like, I need community for this. Like, you know, I can't do this alone. You know, yes, could the 4 of us hunker down and fight through all this? We could.
Yes.
But we needed community
to
build up through that.
Agree. God created us for it.
Yeah.
Well, Kathy, we love you.
Thank you. Love you.
And we are so glad that you're part of this family. We're so glad that you're a part of this family. And today is a very awesome day to hear your story, and look what God has done. Look what God has done. And when I think about resilient, I think about you, but it's not just because you're strong. You're resilient now with the strength of God, and you have walked a road that some of us will never even know what that road looks like, feels like, experiences, but you've done that
Mhm.
and you are doing it with a faith in God. And now you are carrying that light for others.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
amazing. So Thrive Church, will you just put your hands together right now and celebrate and honor Kathy and her story? And we love you and thank you. And what a story of resilience.